In this video, I'm going to do a review of the LetPot Max unit. That's the unit right here. I'll introduce the product and then I'll go through my 12-point checklist for hydroponic systems. LetPot is a well-known manufacturer of these hydroponic systems, and they've been around for a number of years. They have several different units, and this is their newer high-end model. Their regular one is an SE model, and it's quite comparable to many of the other units on the market. It has 12 pods and a reservoir of about 5.5 liters, which is actually higher than most units. And on Amazon right now, it's $113. The Max unit is more expensive at $250, but it has some really neat automation that other units just don't have. So let's go down my 12-point checklist. Number one is the light. How intense is this light? And how good is the wavelengths that you get? Is this suitable for plant growth? Now, as I've mentioned in my other video where I discussed this 12-point checklist, none of the manufacturers provide the information you need. Now, this unit is a 36-watt unit, but as you know, when we talk about LED lights, wattage doesn't tell us anything. That just measures how much power goes into the unit. It doesn't tell you how much light actually comes out. And with LEDs, the light is the important part. To get an understanding of how powerful this light is, I set it at maximum. And then I measured it at 7 inches down from the light. And the reading I got was about 15,000 lux. Now when we compare that to my other grow systems where I grow Streptocarpus, I measured that light at the surface of the leaves and I was getting 12,000 lux. So it's about the same as this unit here. 12,000 lux is considered a low light level. Streptocarpus are low-light plants. In my grow room, I'm using real grow lights. So I decided to turn them all the way up and measure it at 7 inches from the light. And I was getting readings about 70,000 lux. And this unit is about 15,000 lux. Now that's pretty good for these type of units. When growers look at them, they seem very bright, and probably even just you looking at me, you can see all this light coming on my face. It looks really bright, but our eyes are very sensitive to light. When we compare this to the sun, this is actually a low light system. When we compare this to other grow lights, it's also a low light system. And when I say grow lights, I'm talking about the real grow lights, not these small little lights that people sell for grow lights. I'm talking about real professional grow lights. So this is a low light system, but it's probably enough to grow things like lettuce and tomatoes. Now, how does the light level of this unit compare to other units? Well, it's actually pretty good. I have some no-name units, and they're running at around 9,000 lux, so they're quite a bit less than this. So if you're comparing this unit to its competitors, it has a good light system. My second point of comparison is the grow bloom modes, and this does have them. So it has a grow mode where it turns on the blue light, and then it has a bloom mode where it turns the blue light off. Historically, there was some value in having those two modes, but with LED lights, there isn't any reason to have those. If I was running this, I would run it on grow mode all the time, even when I'm trying to bloom my tomatoes. And the reason is that grow mode produces the most amount of light because the blue is turned on. And blue light is valuable to plants whether they're growing or flowering or making fruit. So if I use this unit, I'm going to set it to grow and leave it there. How about fertilizer and seeds? The unit does come with these A/B fertilizers, and that's what most units have, so that makes it quite competitive. I was a little surprised that it didn't come with seeds. Again, that's not a big deal because you can go out and buy anybody's seed, but some of the competitors do provide seed to get you started. It does have a pump inside, and it seems like a well-built pump, and it circulates the water, so that's pretty competitive. What about the holes for the plants? Well, you might have noticed that this has a lot of holes. In fact, it has 21 holes. So the theory is that you can grow 21 plants, and that's much more than most units. In fact, a lot of the other units are running around 12 holes. Now this sounds like a great feature, but it really isn't. There's no way you can grow 21 plants in here, unless you're just growing seedlings and then you're moving them to some other system. But if you're trying to grow vegetables here, a lettuce or tomato or something like that, or some herbs, you can't grow 21 plants in here. The extra holes are actually a disadvantage because you have to cover them up so the light doesn't get in there. If light gets into the holes, algae grows inside, and that's not good for the plant root. Now the unit does supply some caps, so you can take the extra holes and cover them up. That's a nice feature. There aren't enough of these to cover all the holes though. Now looking at this unit, if I was growing larger plants like tomatoes, for example, I could only grow a couple in here, maybe 2 or 3 at most. And LetPot understands that. So what they do is they give you an extra tray. This tray here has 2 large holes. So you can use this tray for seedlings and this one for larger plants. And this is quite unique. I haven't seen any other manufacturers do this. And I think it's a great idea because if I'm growing large plants, that's about all I can grow here is 2 of them. And of course it comes with larger pods, larger sponges, so you get a full set here. I think this is a really great feature. The next point on my checklist are the sponges. And this uses pretty traditional holders and sponges. They're the round size, round sponges, standard size. Now the plants don't care, but remember these are disposable items. You're going to use a new one of these each time you start new plants. And although the unit comes with all of these and gives you a supply of these, at some point you're going to have to go out and buy more. And you want a size that's standard. And this is the standard size. There's all kinds of companies that provide this, and you can easily find them on Amazon. So I really like the fact that they're using standard product. These pods fit very nicely in the holders. They're also supplied with a little cover sheet. And at first I looked at this and I thought, oh, big deal. Who would want that? But this actually serves quite an important purpose. I've been testing another unit that doesn't have this, and the sponges are taller and they're covered in algae up here. By having the sponges a little shorter and by covering this, it keeps the light out, and so the sponges don't develop as much algae. That's a really nice feature. When you're starting new seed, you pop these in, and there's these little covers that you put on top. Those covers keep the humidity up around the seeds to allow them to germinate. As soon as they germinate, take the covers off. And what about the size of the unit? The larger the unit, the more plants you can grow. And by size, I'm not referring to the base unit here. I'm talking about light. You want the largest light system you can get because that accommodates more plants. Now LetPot has 2 units. They have the SE model and this one, the Max model. And I looked up the sizes and they're not that different. I'll put the dimensions on the screen so you can see exactly how they compare. Now this one does have a larger reservoir, so it holds more liquid, and it is slightly larger. Both those units will grow about the same amount of plant. What you do get with the Max is more light output, so your plants will grow faster and larger, so that's a benefit. But as far as the size goes, this is a pretty standard sized unit. The next thing on my checklist is a removable light. Now that's not absolutely necessary, but you have to remember that every once in a while you have to clean these out. So you have to dump the liquid out, then you have to get in here and clean all the inside. And that's so much easier to do if this light comes off. On this unit it's fixed. Now you can loosen some screws in the back and take it off, but it wouldn't be worth doing that just to clean the unit. What about extra holes on top? Well, this plate has many of those, in fact too many. Remember, every tiny little hole we have here does let some light in. There is some value in these in that you can use these vertical bars and then tie your plants up. That keeps them more upright. So these are kind of nice to have. It also allows you to take your labels and push them in, but these really don't hold the labels very well, and I don't see many gardeners using this. You know what a tomato plant and a lettuce plant look like. The holes are there, and you are given vertical bars, and you are given some labels if you want to use those. That's all part of the standard package. Point 11, is there an app to control this? Well, the answer is yes, there is. There's quite a nice looking app. It connects to this using Wi-Fi. This unit does have a really nice display, and it's fairly easy to program. So you can program it right on the unit without the app, or you can use your cell phone and run an app on it. Personally, I wouldn't use the app to control it, but it does give you one really nice benefit. If the power goes out on this unit, so you might unplug it to move it, or you have a power failure, the memory is lost in here. So you have to come back and reprogram it. If you have the app remembers all your settings. Once the power comes on, it communicates with the app, and the settings are downloaded onto the unit. So that's a good reason to use the app. What about extra automation? This is one point where this unit really shines against the competition. It has two different functions which are important for automating the whole process. So if we had a standard unit, we'd have to come along every once in a while, check the liquid level, and if it goes down, make up some more fertilizer solution, add that in. You manually have to keep that level up so that the plant roots don't get too dry. With this unit, if you set it to automation, it automatically brings liquid in from a reservoir whenever it's needed. Has an extra little pump here, and so it senses the liquid level going down, and once it reaches a low point, turns on that extra pump, pulls in some liquid, the liquid level rises until it's at the right level, and then it shuts off. Now you've added water at that point, and that would dilute the fertilizer. So there's an added feature where it actually pumps in more fertilizer. So it has a reservoir back here for fertilizer, and you use an external reservoir for water, and so it tops itself up and does that automatically. So that's kind of a nice feature, particularly if you're going on vacation. Then you don't have to worry about this unit. Let's have a look at the inside of this unit. Down here we have the water pump and a cable that connects to it to provide power. You would want to do this if you want to clean these up. So every once in a while it's probably a good idea to pull these sponges out, clean all the gunk off them, put the unit back. Back here is the fertilizer reservoir. So if you're using this in manual mode, you would just put the liquid in here. But if you want to automate the system, you would make up your fertilizer solution and put it in here, and then it automatically pumps it in as needed. There's another pump over here that draws liquid from an outside reservoir, pulls it across the bottom and pushes it out here and helps mix this up. Now the one thing I don't really like about this design are these wires. It's going to make cleaning a little more difficult. It's not a major problem because you don't clean these units that often. When you do, you're going to have to make sure you don't damage any of these wires, and you're going to have to clean around them. So right now I run two different kinds of hydroponic countertop systems like this. I have a no-name product and I have the LetPot. And when I compare those two, this looks like a much better designed system. In the next few weeks, I'm going to do a side-by-side study to compare these two units to see how well the plants actually grow. When I'm finished that test, I'll make a video and I'll include it in my hydroponic videos, which you can get to right here. If you'd like to know what my 12-point checklist is for evaluating hydroponic systems, have a look at this video right here. Happy growing.